Hello traders, this is Sol from Price Action Forex Academy. Just not long ago, I made a short video on pump and dump strategy, and which was very successful. I had quite a few requests to make an elaborate video on this topic. So this video is about this. So pump and dump strategy is very very common in the market. It's not very I didn't come up with this strategy, but the strategy is very effective. If you know what's going on in the market, you can take advantage of this market. So let's get into this strategy, how it works. Okay, so what do? You draw a trend line. Always draw a trend line in the market to see the direction. I know you guys want to draw support resistance line. It's a big thing in the moment, but trend line works as well. You'll see that sometimes trend line works better than the support resistance area. I like support resistance and I like trend line too. But when you draw trend line, you'll see that there will be always some gaps on the area of trend line. Suppose from this area, if I draw a trend line from this to this, there will be a gap here. If I draw a trend line from this point to this point, you see the big gap, big hole, you can say, in this area, right? So this is the area where market is not efficient. Market has to be very efficient. Market need to be in its equilibrium. Means market like to try to go to the mean value of the price. Suppose price is at the moment whatever price it is, right? And it goes too far or too below, it will gonna move back to the mean value. I mean its fair value, right? So when you see the price here and price this point, so what's the difference? It's a very big gap, right? So I'm not saying that it's going to happen like, in a couple of hours, but over the time, price will move back to the trend line. See what happens. And as when price move away from this trend line, it will move back to the trend line. That's the tendency of the market. Let's see here. So price move away. See, this is the great example of this, the pump and dump. So they will gonna pump the market. You're gonna take as much as pips from this market, and whenever they will feel like, the market makers I'm talking about, they will dump all their money and then move back to this trend line. As a retail trader, we have to understand what's going on in the market to take full advantage of this strategy. Okay, so when price is moving away from this whole trend line or moving average, whatever you're using from the fair value, suppose if you use 50 EMA, you'll see, I'm not going to these two things to confuse you guys, but use this trend line to see this. But you can use the moving average as well to see the fair value. Some people use the 200 EMA, some people use 50 EMA, depends on the time period, time frame you're using, right? So if I use the trend line is very unique itself because it doesn't it doesn't move away with the price. Suppose if I was using EMA, it will gonna move with the price. The trend line stays where it is. So here in this case we had this touch point 1, 2, 3, and so if you get the point here, and from this point, see what happened. We moved almost this 7.1 moved to 7.4, almost 300 pips. So 300 pips, when the price moved 300 pips without any consolidation, without any structural movement, you will definitely know that price will gonna come back to the mean value. See, when price usually move to the direction, it will gonna move like this, a staircase this way, like this. It goes up, down, up, down, up, down. But when price shoot up straight up, that it will not gonna stay on that level. So you will have a so how I enter in this state, I'm gonna get into this in a minute. But let's get into the short side. So we got this trend line going on here, and what happened? Look at this big empty space, right? This empty space need to be filled. So when this kind of situation happen, we don't always need to be seller. We always think different way. So when price move that far from the fair value, from the mean value, we know that price is going to come back to this area. We didn't know that this up until this point the price is going to reverse or not, right? So we are thinking price is going to come to this trend line. That's our trade, up from here to there, from here to here. We didn't know the price is going to shift it to the down. We know when price broke this trend line, then we know price is shifting downwards, right? And we know when price broke this trend line, price is moving upside. But at that point, we only need to trade up to this trend line, and then we know that our trade is complete. Until it move to this, we know there is a space there. It's gonna price to move to this trend line. Make another. Let's see another example. Suppose in here we got this first point, second point, third point. What happened? Price move away from this fair value or its mean value, and then what happened? Price just dropped to come back to this mean value. Every time price come here, it go and then come back, and we're going to shift this area until it broke this trend line here, and then it moved to the different direction. The same thing. If you want to draw a trend line, you'll see the exact same thing. But if you know this kind of situation, then you're prepared for the situation, what's going on in the market. You not only on the short side, you can take advantage even prices when it's selling off. I saw some traders there when the markets sell off quite a lot, especially new traders, they're afraid to take to the other side of the market. Suppose if this is the fair value or your mean value, what happened? You are far away from it, right? So price will move back to this area. But you need to know how to get in this. This is your strategy. This is your technique. You're going to use it. Different people use different technique. I use my own strategy to get in. The way I trade is easy. Market structure. Suppose I will show you in 1 hour time frame. You'll see what I mean. Just market structure. Okay. So this is our 4 hour. This is our 1 hour time frame. We draw the trend line on 4 hour time frame. Let's see what happened here. See, so we moved so far from this trend line. So when we see this kind of thing, we know the price is going to move back to the trend line, and it did. So how to take this advantage of this? Let's see. So we'll draw another trend line from here to there. Okay. And then what happened? So we have a structure here. We found price formed a double bottom. As you can see, price formed a double bottom. Right? And then it broke this neckline and came back. It broke this trend line and came to this support area. We buy from this area, right? And then you write this trend, and your direction is this trend line. So you know where to go. You know the overall direction. And when it comes close to this trend line, you want to be a seller, because that's your sell zone and that's your buy zone. And buy zone will gonna you don't know how far the price is gonna go, but you're gonna use your trend line and market structure to get into the opposite side. If you don't understand, just draw this one. So draw another trend line, right? So what do you see? Price broke this trend line, so we are not on the buy side anymore, right? And also price is close to this, our overall trend line that we draw on 4 hour time frame. Same thing, we what we draw on other side of the market. That's it. So this is the trend line we draw on the upside, right? Bull side of the market. So that's our first point. That's our second point. And you see the huge gap there, right? So we wait for this. You need to be patient to trade this kind of setup. So we have a huge hole in this area, right? So when price goes to the extreme, we'll draw a trend line, right? So what do you see? Do you see any market structure break? We see market broke this area. This is our previous high. Market broke, made another high, right? And it broke this area. So this is our first indication that market is not staying up. It is gonna come back to its mean value. So that's our first signal, and we have this trend line which is showing us, and if you draw another trend line which is giving you a direction that price broke this area, and we have a short position triggered at this area, and we'll write this trade as a trader. This depends on how you trade, but probably I would get out around this area, and if it depends on the pullback, this area of this price create a support, so we would have got it here, and price could have moved back to this area and come back here. You don't know how choppy the market will be, but depends on your strategy. But our last target is our trend line. When price come back to this trend line, we know the price is gonna move back again, right? So that's basically the strategy itself. So if you have any question, please let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification button. Bye.